Corby here. So Donald Trump has put a temporary pause on all federal loans and grants. This is your daily intelligence brief. So Donald Trump, in his supposed drive to increase government efficiency, to reduce spending, but more importantly, his insistence on making sure that everything aligns with his bigoted, anti-transgender, anti-DEI, anti-woke agenda, he's paused federal grant and loan programs across the board until such time as they can be reviewed and reinstated. Now, I have a son in college, junior in college. We rely on federal Pell Grant. We rely on the Stafford loans. We rely on federal government assistance. And right off the bat, it looked like, well, that was gone. That was paused. We're in the middle of the school year. It's, the start of the spring semester. Now, there's been since reporting from the Department of Education that no, this does not apply to student financial aid, that will not be impacted directly. And it's based upon the statement within this memo that this would not impact grants or loans. This would not impact programs that pay directly to individuals. So if you're an organization, you're a group, it's going to affect you. If you're a business, it's going to affect you. But if you're an individual, you're okay. So there was still some concern with student loans student loans and Pell Grants, because they actually pay out to the colleges on behalf of the students, and then the students get reimbursed if there's an overage. But it's still considered individual according to the Department of Education. So that's a little tiny glimmer of good news. But let's consider how this goes elsewise as we take a look at the economy at large. I work in construction. In construction, there are projects that have funding from multiple locations. I work in a particular branch of construction. When I do a bid, I do an estimate. A lot of times I see things regarding prevailing wage or Davis-Bacon Act. These are indications as to where the funding is from. So if the project says in its specifications that Davis-Bacon Act applies, that means that there's federal funding involved. There's a federal grant involved to help this project go forward. And then general contractors bid on it. I'm a subcontractor. I bid to the general contractors and so forth. So all of those projects are now on pause. Infrastructure projects that, the federal infrastructure bill, as far as rebuilding roads and bridges and so forth, if there's federal grants involved in that, those are paused. So any federal grant money or loans are now paused pending this review. While they're paused, those projects don't go forward. How does this impact me working in a small construction company? Well, if I have any of those projects currently booked, then those projects are now on hold. I may have already bought materials, but I can't bill because no payments can be made. Even if I don't have any such projects coming in the next calendar year, as we come into the summer where construction ramps up, there's going to be projects that would have been out there to bid on that are no longer going to be out there to bid on because they're on hold because of funding. So that tightens the field for what jobs there are left to bid on. This is just myself in the construction industry. There are all sorts of other industries that are going to be impacted. There are small businesses that they're not going to be able to get small business loans. Let's go back to the education. Many universities rely on a large part of their funding coming from research grants. So if you have research grants out there that are being held back, they're not being provided, that affects the ability for universities to function, for universities to be able to fund their programs. That affects the ability of graduate students to get funding in order to continue their education. Puts everyone's lives on hold. Well, Donald Trump sorts out how he can best screw over people he doesn't like. And let's be absolutely blunt about it. I'm a white male Army veteran. Straight white cisgender male Army veteran. And Donald Trump doesn't like me. It's not because I vote Democrat. He doesn't like me because I make less than 6 figures a year. I'm not in his millionaire billionaire club. The rich despise the poor. They do not believe in a meritocracy. They do not believe that people with any sort of intelligence or skill set should deserve to get ahead, or if you work hard, you get ahead. That is a myth that they sell. The reality is that the rich only care about themselves, and they will stomp on or suppress anyone they need to maintain their status. And think about that. Think about where you fit on that pecking order. Because we keep voting these people to be our rulers, not our leaders. Think about that. Because knowledge is power. Corby out.